insurrectionary forces, Alexander Hamilton sought an economic and legal order where his Jewish compatriots would stand equal to their Christian neighbors. The successes Hamilton achieved to that end illustrate the democratic possibilities of the new nation. Just the same, the obstacles he encountered mark the limitations of an America still rife with inherited inequality. The following chapters are as much about the Jewish world of the early republic as they are about Hamilton, and it is the relationship between the two that shows us afresh how the aftermath of the Revolution was neither an undeviating march toward modern equality nor a pure perpetuation of traditional hierarchy. We instead find a young country uneasily navigating the contested terrain between New World promises and Old World prejudices. Any claim concerning Hamilton's Jewishness must begin with his mother, Rachel, given the matrilineal nature of Jewish identity. She was unquestionably from a Christian family in the British Caribbean. Rachel wedded a colonist in the Danish West Indies named Johann Levine. Although numerous scholars assume he was not Jewish, considerable evidence suggests otherwise, including the unambiguous declaration from Hamilton's own grandson that Johann was a rich Danish Jew. There are compelling reasons to think Rachel converted to Judaism for marriage. When the couple had a son, Peter, they abstained from the standard Christian practice of infant baptism. Peter Levine would later be baptized as an adult under circumstances that indicated he was converting to Christianity, and thus not a Christian in childhood. Hamilton scholars do not entertain the possibility that Peter had been Jewish and so remained baffled by his adult baptism. Rachel fled her marriage and bore Alexander out of wedlock to a Christian, yet she chose to enroll Alexander in a Jewish school. His Jewish education is a well-established fact. Some biographers presume that Alexander attended a Jewish school because his illegitimacy must have precluded him from church schooling. Yet the church records do not support the supposition that out-of-wedlock birth posed an obstacle to church membership, and a host of communal, theological, and political factors give us ample cause to believe that the Jewish school would have accepted Alexander only if the local Jewish community considered him one of its own. His matriculation at the Jewish school also stands as the best evidence that Rachel had earlier converted to Judaism. Because Jewish identity passes through the mother, any recognition by the Jewish school of Alexander as a co-religionist means that it necessarily would have regarded Rachel in the same light. If we assume that she had no prior identity as a Jew, it is hard to make sense of why Rachel would, or how she even could, choose to arrange a Jewish education for her son. Allow for the possibility of her Jewish identity, however, and such difficulties disappear. Two other long-known details about Rachel, which Hamilton biographers mention but treat with no particular significance, harmonize with the notion that she was Jewish. Rachel kept the surname Levine long after she severed ties to Johann, until her death, in fact. And upon her passing, she was not buried in a church cemetery. Hamilton was only 13 when his mother succumbed to a fatal illness, and he stayed in the Caribbean until the age of 18. A recently unearthed legal case from those intervening years makes plain that he presented himself as Christian at 17, but it also suggests that his affiliation with Christianity had not been lifelong. When assessed for his competency to swear on the Bible as a witness, Hamilton described himself as Anglican. Yet the court prevented him from giving sworn testimony after Hamilton conceded that he had never before received communion. His failure to have participated in the sacrament of communion would be an oddity if he were raised Anglican, but is far more explicable if he were a latecomer to the Christian faith. Tellingly, Hamilton in his American years was both willing and able to conceal parts of his West Indian background. Newly uncovered records reveal that he fabricated his year of birth after leaving the islands. Hamilton maintained this myth for the duration of his adulthood without any Caribbean contemporary ever exposing him, rendering it all the more plausible that he could obscure a Jewish heritage with similar success. The theory that Alexander Hamilton probably had a Jewish past may seem on its face provocative. But were the foregoing facts presented about the early life and family history of any ordinary Caribbean colonist rather than an American founder, it would be uncontentious to claim that the balance of evidence points to his status as a Jew.